You know, at first I was wondering why the Chili Peppers wanted to release two albums in a year, but then I remember since 2006, we've only gotten three albums before this one in about a 15-year period. So they kind of owed us this. But yeah, back in April, actually on April Fool's Day, they released their long anticipated 12th studio album, Unlimited Love. It was 17 tracks, and it was really enjoyable. I did enjoy it. So when I heard that just 9 months later they were releasing another album, I was kind of like, wow, you must have recorded a lot of songs in there with John when he came back, didn't you? And of course, that's how it was. Another 17-track album. This time it's titled Return of the Dream Canteen. And, I think this album kind of is just what an Unlimited Love sequel would sound like. Like, I'm not saying it's a carbon copy, but I feel like, again, with this era of Red Hot Chili Peppers, they have this certain sound. Like, they've always been funky, but they're really relying on funk and jazz this time around, whereas I remember the album previous to these two, which was The Getaway, kind of leaned more into guitars and kind of stuff like that. My least favorite tracks on this record, My Cigarette, The Drummer, and La times 8. I'm just not saying la 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 la. I'm not saying it 8 times. It would be annoying. Those songs, My Cigarette's probably the oddball of the album because it's more of a pop-leaning beat to it, and for the Chili Peppers that can be a little unusual, but you kind of remember John Frusciante's love for like EDM music, and it sort of makes sense, but I don't know. It's just kind of like an outlier of the album. And the other two songs just kind of bore me, don't really leave me, wanting to listen to it in the first place. So, I guess they weren't terrible, but I wish they would have done more. Then in the okay tracks, Eddie, Bella, Handful, and Carry Me Home, again, they are better, obviously, than the least favorite tracks, but I still feel like there's pieces missing from them that can make them even better. Like, some of them, it's the chorus that carries them. Others, I really like the verses, but the chorus kind of falls flat. It's very 50-50 with these songs. Like, nothing terrible. I think they all do their thing very well, especially, Chad and John and Flea doing their instrumentation. It's definitely a step in the right direction. But then we get to my favorites, and this is where we start to have fun a little bit. Tip of My Tongue, that was the lead-off single to this record and the only song I had heard before this record came out, and I had a lot of fun with it. And even though Anthony Kiedis' yahs and all this kind of stuff can be a little cheesy at times, it's just like you kind of just ignore it because it fits so well, and it's just nice to hear that they can still be fun and funky and not have to do this soft sound every time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But with the Chili Peppers, I want to have some fun. Peace and Love was nice. Reach Out, I think, is probably my second favorite track on this record. I don't know what it is, but it gets stuck in my head. Fake as Fuck, even though the title's cringy, I can understand why it's called that. This is calling out just people in the world who basically are just, not what they portray themselves to be. And I think it's actually a song that can even be categorized as a little political, which the Chili Peppers, I guess, have done before in some way, but never to this extent before. But hey, it's 2022. A lot of people seem to be getting political nowadays. Roulette, really like the chorus to that one. Afterlife, Shoot Me a Smile's nice. Bag of Grins, Copperbelly, although the verses can kind of be iffy on Copperbelly, really like the chorus, the intensity there is nice. And then In the Snow, the 6-minute finale, it's quiet, and again, it uses a lot more technical stuff than it does instrumentation, but I think with the way it kind of finishes things off and the atmosphere of the song, it does a nice job here throughout the 17 tracks. So yeah, overall the second outing for the Chili Peppers in 2022 is a nice one. I would say that it's not better or worse than Unlimited Love. I would say they're right about the same. Like, both of these albums were definitely, I wouldn't say worth the wait, but they were kind of worth it, and they're enjoyable, and there's a lot off these two albums that I would go back to, and I think Return to the Dream Canteen deserves a 7 out of 10. It's one that I would recommend to people, and I would, say pretty much 95% of the album is listenable in some way and can really catch someone's attention. And for the most part, when an album can do that, then, you know, I can definitely respect that. Like I said, there was some moments where I was kind of zoning out of it because some of the songs weren't, I guess, up to par with the rest of the record. But when you get past the 2 or 3 songs or so that really aren't it, you tend to have fun with this thing, and I like the direction that they find themselves in now. Although that album cover a bit cringy, but we'll let it slide. We'll let it slide because, again, sometimes you just can't judge a book by its cover, and I like this album. It's another one of my favorites of 2022. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this album. You can tell me in the comments below, what did you think? And until then, stay safe out there, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I will catch you all in the next one.